You asked for it, you commented. Today, we're going to create a design system from scratch in multiple ways. I will show you whether you want to reference an existing design system or you're starting absolutely from scratch. We're going to use Claude and the Figma MCP. This is exactly what I'm calling the vibe to vector framework. I'm going to show you how to get started by ideating in Stitch. And then using Claude, I will show you all the exact prompts that you need. And I'm attaching a file for you in the video description that you can download where you can copy the prompt so you can follow along. And by the end of this tutorial, you're going to have a complete design system with colors, not just in here, but built in your variable, along with border radius, spacing, everything that you need, typography, buttons, forms, components, and all of it will be customizable to your own need, created by Claude leveraging the Figma MCP. Now, if you're one of those people who want to do this with codecs, that is my next step. So please comment here and let me know that you're using codec, and I will create the same walkthrough for you. For the rest of you, let's dive in. The prerequisites that you would need, of course, you need a paid pro account or enterprise account would be great if you have that. This process was not heavy on my usage. Hopefully you will not run out of tokens. Here I am inside Claude. A good idea would be to start a new project for this. I will call it design system. And what I'm trying to achieve is creating a design system in Figma using Claude and Figma MCP. Starting the project, I always like to pin my project to have access to it right away in my left-hand folder. The first prompt that I used was so simple. This is how I work with Claude. When I'm not sure how to do something, I ask it how to do it. And this is how it gets me to better accuracy. So the first prompt I used right here for you to see, you can also follow along and do the same. I'm saying, I need you to create a design system in Figma from scratch. What do you need from me to guide you? I literally ask it because it will ask me specific questions. Learning from my previous trial, I'm telling it, ask me the questions one by one. Because in my previous trial, it just sent me a load of questions that I just had to answer in the same chat. And I wanted to ask me one by one so I can do this better. Now, before I continue with this, some of you may wonder, okay, what if I have an existing design system? I had these questions. Sometimes you may want to refer an existing design system that you actually like. If that is the case, add that to your first prompt. One of you, I hope you're watching this video, have asked me in the comments, you wanted to use the Carbon design system. That's a fantastic idea. If you do have a design system that you like for reference, adjust your first prompt and say, I would like to benefit from this design system. Add a link to it if you have a Figma file for it. But coming back to our use case, which is getting started absolutely from scratch and walking through it with Claude. The first question is, what is the design system for? Is this for a personal project, a client, your YouTube channel, or something else? That's great because this is where you can specify all your details, and this is where this walkthrough is very useful. So I'm going to use a use case that many of you may have for a client project to create a responsive web app. Of course, in this case, you specify what you need. Does your client have an existing brand identity? So you can specify with your answer the level of details that you need. It's saying think logo, brand, typography, or any existing style. Or are we starting from absolute zero? So this is a perfect opportunity for you to enter any brand colors that your client may have, existing styles, even rough ones. But if you're starting absolutely from zero, fantastic place to do it is Google Stitch. For example, let's say my client is a welder. Look how simple is the prompt I'm putting in Stitch. Create a website for a welder that allows them to reach more clients in Ottawa, Canada. I'm choosing web. I'm not going to linger on this example too much. I just want to show you if you are starting somewhere and you want to brainstorm. You could definitely do that in Stitch. For now, between Stitch and Claude Design, I think Stitch may be your better option because it will not use up your tokens. Claude Design, unfortunately, so many people are reporting is using so many tokens. And here you go. Look how fast that is in Stitch. It picked up industrial color palettes. At some point, if we really wanted to be exact and accurate, I can click on exporting the design system. If you select MCP and copy the prompt, this will give you a prompt that you can feed into Claude for your design system. But I tried doing that in the past. I don't like feeding the MD file or the prompt from Stitch to Claude. So what I would do is I would take a screenshot of this design system and I will just feed it into Claude. I have to acknowledge how brilliant is the Stitch output. So let's grab a screenshot of this design system. Clicking Command Shift 4, I can exactly take a screenshot of what I want. I will add this, click Open. So now this is my response. See suggested colors and fonts. And Claude's response, love it. This gives us a solid foundation. I can see primary, neutral, tertiary, the typography. It already identified that. The components, it already started defining some of that. So the next question is, what's the general vibe personality of this web app? If you're following along with this, you just follow whatever questions that you're getting because they may be different based on the input that you're giving Claude. I'm going to run through this phase faster just so we can get to what's relevant to you. Important point to call out is when it asks you about the responsiveness for the project, specify that. So it considers that in your component variant. When it came to the icon library, look how brilliant Claude is and why everybody is making a fuss about it. It's asking me, what kind of icon library do you want to use? Are you open to using icons from other Figma UI kits? Of course we are. I'm going to say material. Now it's saying we have everything we need. Here's a summary of what we're building. So I love that it's verifying what it's building. And then it's going to start loading the Figma skill. Please pay attention to this because this is where we're vibing to vector. You need to see here very soon that it's loading the Figma skill, the design system preferences. That's how you know this is working. It needs to be using the Figma MCP so the agent can write inside the Figma file. I did not tell it where to build it specifically. It's asking me, how do you want to do it? What works best for you? Do you have a file that's already created for this project? And this is where I highly recommend you go and you create your own Figma file. And I'm going to show you why. So I'm getting started with a new design file. And when you first create a design file in Figma, you see it's set to draft. When it's in your drafts, it's more difficult for the agent to actually work with it or create in it because it's not published. I will rename my file. I'm calling it Welder Project Design System. The important step is to move the file to a published folder that you have that is accessible, not just your drafts. Now that we have a proper file in a proper folder, I'm clicking the share, and this is the link that I want to give Claude. So right here is where you paste the URL of your Figma file. If you simply paste it like this, it makes it into a link. Don't do that. Just erase this part and add your actual link. And because I've learned from the previous trial, I want to tell it to organize the files for me. In my previous attempt, when I did this, it actually created everything, but it put them all in the same page. So I had to go once again and I say, organize what you created in separate pages. So for you guys, from the beginning in this prompt, I want you to create it in this Figma file and organize it in separate pages. So rather than do this twice, let it do it properly from the beginning. We want to save you those tokens. And if you notice, I'm working with Sonnet. Like, you don't have to worry about using Opus 4.7. Sonnet is good enough for this. And now you will see the magic. The Figma icon should appear right here. Do you see? Immediately it's saying the use Figma. Okay, this is a perfect moment to debug. It's saying the use Figma tool isn't available in this session. Well, that's my indication something is wrong with the connector. And by the way, Figma and Claude have been updating that MCP connection so often, many times I have to do what I'm going to show you. So why does it not have access to it? The best place to debug this is if you click on Customize, come to your connectors, and here you go. Do you see? My Figma tool is disabled. it was connected just before I got started or yesterday, the last time I used it. So there's a connection issue. Just go through it. I really think this is happening because of the many times they're doing these updates. Do your own authentication, agree and allow. And now if you come back to your Claude, this should be connected and refreshed. So this is the requirement. Remember the first video I showed you when we had to do so many installations in the terminal? Apparently this is no longer needed. They updated this plugin to be working and containing all the Figma skills right here that we need to create. The one that allows us to vibe into Vector is the Use Figma tool. Coming back to my design system chat, that's why I like projects and pinning them so you don't lose conversations. And I'm going to give exactly the same prompt. I can copy it this way or I can copy it from here and I'm pasting it. There you go. This is the message I'm looking for. Let me access your Figma file directly through the Figma MCP connection. And you see the Figma icon right here. This is your clue. If they don't change it tomorrow, this has been my clue that you see the Figma logo right there because they're talking to it. Claude wants to use Figma from Figma. Always allow. And you can see setting up pages with color variables. While it's doing all this, for those of you who want to see, I'm going to show you in detail a Claude design system I created for myself, exactly following the same steps that we came to here. So this is the cover that it created. Of course, the cover can be enhanced, but that's an easy prompt if this is what I wanted. I love how it laid out the color tokens. It separated them into semantics and primitive scales. It created warning, success, error. I didn't even add that in my prompt. It recognized that and did it by itself. The typography, spacing, I really love how it did the spacing for me and it created those variables and the corner radius as well. In the assets, it generated some illustrations. This is an avatar that I designed and components. And this is where it asked me details about these components, what I wanted exactly. That's why it will ask you specifications about how many components you want and how deeply do you want to go in terms of variables and variants. And lastly, I generated an example page just to test the design system itself. So back to our project, you will see, here you go. It's super fast. Wow. It created the page structure first. Our color system is already here. And I can slowly see that it's popping in the text styles. Maybe, oh, here it is. The typography page is coming. You can either watch the progress here inside Claude and see what it's creating, or I find it really fun to see it do that in Figma on my behalf. What a joy to watch it do it. And you will see every once in a while, next to your own image, a secondary image of yourself, your own avatar, will pop in and then disappear. And that is Claude coming into your canvas and pasting something. So I'm assuming next it's going for buttons. This is an empty page. Here you go. It popped in and did it. Isn't that fun, you guys? That's vibe to vector for you. My forms and inputs, that's great. While it's doing the rest of the pages, I want to see, I'm going to come to variables in Figma, and you will see it already created collections of variables. I have variable colors, you see? Semantics for success, warning, error, info, background, text. Everything here so well designed. My whole work before was generating design systems from scratch, and it took forever to create all this. This is the kind of work that I want AI to do on my behalf so I can do the real design. Like this, it generated everything we want. While it's finishing up, I'm coming back to Claude to address a concern that many of you may have. I'm going to show you my usage. I have a $20 plan pro with Claude. I don't have a very big plan. I only purchase the extra usage in case I run out of usage sometimes, like, during a session limit, and I want to use it. And I find it very useful. I haven't spent much here, but this allows me to unblock if I'm trying to finish something and then Claude stops because you're out of usage. So I highly recommended the extra usage. It was only 28 Canadian dollars. But even for this session, where we're generating a complete design system, we did not use more than 33%. So for me, this is fantastic news because you're going to create your design system only once, at least for each project, but hopefully just once. And if you're working in your enterprise account for your company, then you absolutely have no problem. And it's at the last page, people. And I'm already telling you, I love this. The icons, it got some icons from Material Design. If you don't like them, just go and ask it to change them. This is the best news. You can prompt it for enhancements or you can do the enhancements yourself. And lastly, this is my mobile frames page. And look how clean and elegant this is. Are there mistakes? Yes. And you should be happy when you see the mistakes, right? Because you don't want AI to do everything for you. You want to still have the ability to do things. But the great news is because it's vector, this is where you can come and change everything. You can customize it. You can do whatever you want. As you can see, all 8 pages are ready to use. So let's create a test page and see. So I'm saying create a test page for me featuring the homepage of our welder, Sam Shaheen, located in Ottawa, Canada. Let's see how good Claude is at ideating once you give it a design system that it can completely understand. It said desktop frame done. Now let me add the mobile version right beside it. It obviously created the last new page. And do I love it? Not necessarily. You will see if you log inside any frame, it's using our branding and colors. But here's what I realized. Look, in both iterations, when I look closer, this is a button component that we just created, right? You'd think it would use the button component. It did not use it in the test page. It just went again and created frames. This is a huge flaw because it doesn't understand that we wanted to use the same design system. But do you know what will work? In the previous video where I showed you how to connect the design system to Claude, I told you what to use. I'm going to follow the same process and I will also include that prompt for you. So here's my prompt that works with design systems. Create, you want to put the feature that you want to create. So I'm going to say create a homepage for welder Sam Shaheen here. So here I'm pasting the link of the page where I wanted to create it. Use components and tokens from, now I need to give the name of the library. And let's test if we can do this without it being published since we're inside the same file. So I'm saying from here. Now let's see if it will do a better job and generate the page with actual components. And here you go. This exact prompt, and it is so weird that we have to refine the prompt this much, but that's what I noticed. When I use something different than the structure of my exact prompt, like I taught you, it doesn't get it. Do you see now it's saying, I will reuse every color bound to a variable and every text node using a text style. The reason you would want it to create things with your variables and with your design system so that if you're changing modes, if you're changing themes, you will be able to do that and it will reflect in every single screen. It's interesting. I didn't ask it to, but it deleted what was there before and it started fresh. Here you go. And what's different now, if I were to inspect this, I can see my typography styles are attached. I wish it didn't delete the previous one, but I saw very clearly it was random text, random frames. To complete this, the proper way of doing this, please note that you would have to publish your library once you create it. Make sure you publish everything the way you would normally do it in Figma. And only when you do that, you would be able to use it as a design system in any new design file that you get started with. Once I publish this, it becomes a successfully published library that I can come to my assets, search for, and add to my file. And this is how I would recommend that you go about this. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Please share with me your comments. If you've come this far with me, I would love to hear from you. So many of you are connecting with me already on X, on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I'm most active. I love to hear your stories and to know that I'm making a difference for you. So if this is the case, please let me know how this was in your experience and what else you want to learn about. Where are you stuck in your process? What would be useful for you next? Lastly, That next to the subscribe screen, do you see that bell notification? By default, YouTube makes it personalized for you, so it decides on your behalf what's relevant or not. If you want to keep track of everything that I'm releasing and you want to be notified, because most of the time it's right as something as released, make sure to click all. Thank you so much for sharing the journey and for being here.